Peace, love, Black Power family. It's your brother Ray Tutun Ahmose. Back at y'all again. I wanted to sit down with you all family to speak about one of the things that's under siege in our society. And not only in our society, but in the societies throughout the world. I want to speak about the history. Not only the history, but the destruction of the history that was left for us as a people. I want to really get in depth on those who are making it possible that our history is still revealed ours, that our history is still African-centered. I know a lot of us have this notion that we had did these things in our history and it was a long time ago and that we should forget. I say that we should not forget. We shall always remember to look back on our greatness, to look back on what we have accomplished and have achieved in our history. If we shall forget what we had achieved, then we will be re-established in not only mental slavery, but historically lost and abandoned as a people, in which would shorten up our history. We must remember the great ones who had came before us, not only in America, but also in Africa. We have to remind ourselves time and time again, as my spiritual grandfather would say, if we cannot look into the mirror and see ourselves and look in the mirror until we like what we see, then we are not ready for liberation. We are not ready for a change. He also goes on to say that if we can't look in the mirror and see ourselves, then we have no friends. We have no friends. And so 2020, we must improve in nation building with one another. We must improve in reorganizing our spiritual traditions. We must improve in our militancy this year. We must improve the whole totality of the Black family and reunite the Black family with the mother, the father, and the child, the three trinities. This is a major part of the missing link within the black family. Within the black family. We must remember that we must look back in order to move ahead. One of the things I have here is the Sankofa bird. Is showing the Sankofa bird looking back, and his body is forward, and he's looking back in order to understand the history, to understand who it is and what it is, and understand the greatness that it comes from in order to move ahead. It is a reminder after slavery to look back in order to move ahead. I know we all recall the movie Sankofa, where the sister, she was a lost sister, and she come into the West African coast, and she's at the slave castle, and from there she goes on beguiling and smiling and taking all type of photos. This is an example of the lost sister. But oh, do the ancestors know how to operate? When she went back, it was in a personification of her at a stage where she was lost, and she was there in the presence of history. And from there, she went back through the times that she was no different than those white folks she was smiling and beguiling with. And she went through slavery, and she went through rape and abuse, and then she liberated herself at the end, and then she woke up and she continuously said that she was African. We must remember and not forget. Keep the documentations. Keep the books. Yes, it's very important. Keep the books. We have to recognize who we are. We're African people of the diaspora. We are all of the African people of the diaspora. Yes, it may be hard to tell for some, but we must return back to greatness. We must return back to reconnecting with ourselves. We must look into the great things that our people has done in West Africa, in South Africa, in Central East Africa, in Central Africa. Remember the greatness. Look at the enlarged monumental structures that we left.